My name is Brooke Ellis, and I am 29 years old. I work as an MRI technologist in Nashville, which means I spend my days in rooms where fear is quiet, not loud. People don't scream in an MRI suite. They hold their breath. They stare at ceilings. They try to stay still while their thoughts sprint. I got good at steady hands and steady voice, because panic spreads fast when you let it. That skill saved me the day my father decided to erase me from his house like I had never existed. I was halfway through a run in cold December air, sweat cooling at the back of my neck, earbuds in, mind finally quiet, when my phone buzzed hard against my armband. Then again, I stopped on the sidewalk, breathing through my mouth, and glanced down expecting work. A schedule change. Maybe my friend texting me about dinner. It was my father. Ron Ellis. We sold your bed, desk, and everything in your room for $750. The message said, "Your cousin needs it for her baby. Want to come home for Christmas? Buy us a new living room set. $3,200 cash. Otherwise, stay away." We changed the locks and gave your key to her. I read it twice because my brain refused to accept the order of words. Sold your bed. Changed the locks. Gave your key away. Pay us cash or stay away. Then my mother, Patty, texted right after, like she was coordinating the timing. "We told everyone at church you abandoned us for your rich boyfriend. Pay up or we'll tell them you hit me last Christmas." My sister, Paige, followed up like it was entertainment. "Neighbors already think you're on drugs. Want us to confirm it." I stood there on the sidewalk with my lungs burning and realized this wasn't a random fight. This wasn't a mistake. This was a plan. Sell my room. Lock me out. Hand my key to someone else. Smear me through church. Threaten false accusations. Then demand money to let me earn my way back into the house. And the worst part was, I knew exactly what they expected from me next. They expected me to drive home shaking, to beg, to apologize, to say I'm sorry for whatever they decided I did, to hand them cash just to stop them from talking, because that's what they trained me to do. When I was a kid, my father would punish me for crying, then punish me for not crying the right way. When I got older, it became more polished, less yelling, more guilt, more "after all we've done for you." I stared at the messages and felt that old reflex rise. The one that says, "Fix it. Fix it. Fix it. Before it gets worse." Then another voice cut through. Quieter but stronger. "This is already worse. This is extortion." So I didn't drive to their house. I drove to the one person in my family who still had real power over that house. My grandmother, Marjorie Ellis. The drive took about 40 minutes. I don't remember most of it. I remember one red light where I sat staring forward with my hands on the wheel, still in my running gloves, realizing my parents had chosen a baby and a living room set over their own daughter's dignity. I remember thinking about my room, not because it was fancy, because it was the last place in that house that felt like proof I belonged. My board study desk, the cedar chest at the end of the bed, the quilt Grandma sewed, a box of letters from my grandfather, a watch he left me that I begged my parents not to touch. When I pulled into Grandma Marjorie's driveway, her porch light was on. She always kept it on before dark. She used to say a lit porch tells good people they're welcome, and bad people they're visible. I walked in still in running clothes, hair a mess, cheeks red from cold and anger. She took one look at my face and didn't ask if I wanted coffee. She asked, "What did they do now?" I handed her my phone. She sat in her recliner and read every message slowly, like she was reading medication instructions for someone she didn't trust to tell the truth. The deeper she read, the straighter she sat. By the time she reached the line about telling church, I hit my mother. Her mouth went tight in a way I hadn't seen since my uncle tried to forge her signature on a loan form years ago. "Say it out loud," she said. So I did. I told her I kept a room at my parents' place because I work long shifts and sometimes stayed there after late callbacks. I told her about the quilt, the cedar chest, the desk, the watch. When I admitted, my father said they sold the watch too. Grandma closed her eyes for a long 3 seconds. Then she asked the question that changed everything. Did your father remember whose house he's living in? My parents always counted on people forgetting this part. Grandma owned the house. Not morally. Not symbolically. Legally. After my grandfather died, she let my parents move into the property for a little while, because they were drowning in debt and pride. A little while turned into years. Years of my father acting like temporary shelter was the same thing as authority. Grandma didn't yell. She stood, went to the hallway cabinet, and pulled out a slim blue folder. Property records, lease addendum, insurance copies, notes from conversations. A draft notice she had typed months earlier and never sent because she still believed shame might do the work consequences eventually had to do. She spread the papers on the coffee table like she was setting out tools before surgery, then looked at me and said, "Call Kara. You shouldn't be alone tonight. Kira Nolan is my best friend since we were teenagers. She doesn't ask if you're sure when your family puts their cruelty in writing. She believes screenshots." When I called and told her the basics, she didn't say, "Do you want me to come?" She said, "I'm leaving now." While we waited, Grandma asked questions the way a responsible adult asks questions. Did they admit selling the watch in writing? Yes. Did they demand money as a condition of letting me return? Yes. Did they threaten to escalate false accusations if I refused? Yes. Did they admit they changed locks and transferred access to someone else? Yes. Her calm got sharper. "They're not confused," she said. "They're confident. That's what we're ending." When Kira arrived, she came with Thai takeout, a legal pad, 2 phone chargers, and that expression she gets when she's about to stop being polite. We sat at Grandma's dining table under the yellow pendant light and built a timeline. Dates, times, exact wording, who threatened what. We backed up screenshots to multiple places. I forwarded everything into a dedicated email folder. Kira told me to stop deleting old texts from my parents. People like this always think the past disappears if they talk loud enough in the present, she said. Then I wrote a list of what was in my room. Bed frame, desk, chair, cheddar kissed, quilt, letters, old photos, board exam notes, the watch. When I got to the watch, my throat tightened so badly I had to put the pen down. Kira watched me and said quietly, "It's not about the object. It's about what it represents." She was right. The room wasn't valuable because of furniture. It was valuable because it contained proof I had been a daughter. Not an inconvenience my parents could bill. If your family changed the locks, sold your things, then demanded money to earn your way back in, would you drive home and beg? Or go straight to the one person with real power? Comment, drive home or call Grandma. At around 6 in the evening, my phone started ringing. Dad. I stared at the screen long enough for the vibration to stop. Then it started again. Grandma nodded once. I answered on speaker. The first thing Ron said wasn't hello. It wasn't even anger exactly. It was fear dressed up as accusation. What exactly did you tell your grandmother? I let silence sit for a beat. Then I said, "The truth?" He tried volume first. "You went crying to an old woman who doesn't understand the full picture. Mia needs space. Families help each other. You always make everything ugly when it doesn't go your way." I didn't argue feelings. I read his own words back. The money demand, the lock change, the church lie, the threat about hitting Mom. There was silence on the line. Then my mother's voice cut in from somewhere near the phone. "Tensa, don't say it like that." So she had been listening the whole time, hoping he could bully me back into silence before she had to hear the evidence out loud. Then Paige's voice drifted in. "Smug. Ask her if she wants the watch back." That did it. Not for me. For Grandma Marjorie. She stood and took the phone from my hand. Her voice was calm. So calm it felt dangerous. "Ron, you have 30 days to vacate my property. You will receive formal notice tomorrow. You will not sell, remove, gift, or destroy another item from my house. You will not contact church members with one more lie about Brooke. And if the watch cannot be recovered, you will explain to an attorney why you sold property specifically left to her. Do you understand?" My father's voice changed instantly. Now, Miss Marjorie. Come on. That's not necessary. We were joking. Family banter. Brooke knows how we talk. She's always been sensitive. My grandmother cut him off. No. What Brooke knows is exactly how you talk. That's why you are now begging. Then she hung up. I expected to feel victorious. Instead, I felt shaky. Like my body still thought telling the truth would get me punished. That's the kind of training toxic families do. They teach you the real crime is not what they did. The real crime is naming it where someone stronger can hear. My phone lit up again. Mom. I let it ring. Paige texted. You really ran to Grandma. Pathetic. Then she threatened to spread a drug rumor. For the first time in my life. I didn't flinch. I replied, do it. I'll forward screenshots proving you changed locks on a house Grandma owns. Typing bubbles appeared. Disappeared. Then nothing. That was new. Paige stopping. Paige choosing silence. Paige realizing threats weren't free anymore. My mother left voicemails. First crying. Then guilt. I hope you're happy doing this to your father right before Christmas. That line used to control me. Now it sounded like what it was. A leash. Grandma looked at me and said, you need to hear this. You did not cause this by telling the truth. People blame the messenger when the message exposes the theft. Then she slid the blue folder toward me. Tomorrow we go there in daylight. With paperwork. With a witness. And they will hear their own words read back to them. Kira took one bite of pad thai and said, I've been waiting years for someone in your family to meet consequences. The next morning we went to the house. Me, Grandma Marjorie, and Kira. When we pulled into the driveway, my cousin Mia's car was already there, along with Paige's Jeep. My mother opened the front door before we knocked. For a split second, she looked like someone caught stealing. Then she tried to rearrange her face into victim. My father stood behind her trying to wear dignity like a jacket he'd outgrown. Mia sat on the couch, rubbing her belly dramatically. Paige leaned against the wall with her arms crossed, ready to turn the whole thing into a performance if there was still an audience left. Grandma didn't negotiate. Sit down, she said. And somehow, 4 grown adults did exactly that. Ron started talking before anyone asked. There's been a misunderstanding. Brooke barely stays here anymore. We figured family items should go where they're needed. Family items. Like my board exam notes were community property. Like my bed was a donation bin. Like a watch from my grandfather was a coupon. Grandma turned to me. Read the message. So I did. Out loud. Every word. The sale. The locks. The demand for $3,200. The church lie. The abuse threat. Paige's drug rumor. The room changed while I read. Lies are easier to defend in fragments. Read back in full. They sound exactly like extortion. My father tried to interrupt twice. Grandma shut him down with one lifted finger. Then she placed the formal 30-day notice on the coffee table. You will provide Brooke a written inventory of everything removed. Sold. Gifted. Or destroyed. If the watch cannot be returned. Ron can explain to a judge why he sold property specifically left to her. That's when I saw it on my father's face. Not remorse. Fear. If you had proof your family sold your property and threatened lies to extort money, would you press charges? Or let it go to keep the peace? Come on, press charges or let it go. By that evening, the story they built about me started collapsing. Church gossip moves fast until it hits receipts. My mother tried to get ahead of it, but she forgot something. Adults with reputations care about documentation. Once Grandma told 2 people the truth. It spread like wildfire. My father's calls turned into pleading. My mother's texts turned into, I'm sorry you feel hurt nonsense. Paige sent, you ruined Christmas. I replied, no, I ruined your leverage. Then I blocked her for the night. 2 days later, the final piece arrived. A neighbor sent security footage from a camera mounted over his garage. It showed my father and Paige loading my furniture into a trailer, laughing, while my mother stood nearby holding Grandma's quilt. Then my father said the sentence that explained my entire life. Sell the nice stuff first. Brooke won't fight. She never does. I watched it 3 times. Not to suffer. To understand. He counted on my silence the way other people count on a paycheck. I forwarded the footage to Grandma. I backed it up. Then I sent it to my father with one line. "This is why you're not getting an explanation. You're getting consequences." He called immediately. I didn't answer. Then we found the watch. A pawnshop owner recognized the engraved initials because Grandma had photos and I had texted the description. My father sold it under his own driver's license. That mattered. Emotionally and legally. Grandma paid a hold fee so we could recover it properly. Kira tried to cover it first and Grandma cut her off. "No," she said. "This is mine to fix." I let this go too far. When I held the watch again, I cried. Not because it was expensive. Because it was proof my grandfather still protected me by leaving me something my parents couldn't rewrite. My father showed up at Grandma's porch the next day. And for the first time, he looked small. "Brooke," he said, voice shaking. "Please tell your grandmother this got out of hand. Please tell church your mother exaggerated. Please. I'll do anything." I looked at him and felt a tired kind of peace. "You want an explanation? Fine. You thought I needed your house more than I needed my self-respect. You thought I'd pay to be let back into a family that already sold me in pieces. You were wrong." Grandma stepped forward and told him to leave or she would call the police. He left without a speech. Christmas that year was quiet. I ate at Grandma's table with Kira. 2 casseroles. 1 pie. And no humiliation. No audition for respect. No family jokes with teeth. My father locked me out and sold my things. Hours later, he was begging me to explain. But by then, I finally understood something he never did. My value was never inside that room. My value was in the moment I stopped begging to be treated like I belonged. If you want more real stories like this, subscribe and turn on notifications. The next one will hit even harder.